Hello, my name is Trevor Owsley, teaching beings that you can escape from darkness into the light of who you are. We're going to be talking about depression because depression is such an important thing at the moment because literally everyone is depressed. But we're going to talk about discovering who you are not. And that's why within you everything feels like it's broken down. Because something in you feels wrong. And it feels like a lie, doesn't it? You know that feeling of intuition when somebody lies to you? Instantly, your body will respond with that doesn't feel right. I can feel it. My intuition is telling me something. That's the intelligence of your body. That's how fantastic your body is. Your body is telling you that it isn't right, but the trick of the mind will try to make it right. See, this is the levels of communication that you can have between your intuition and your mind. That's the conversation that most beings are having. Let's say you're in a relationship. Everything's great at first. Then all of a sudden, somebody lies. Then all of a sudden, you have this sense, a feeling inside your body that says, you knew that they were going to lie. And now it's been confirmed. So the interesting thing about this is, do you give them the benefit because they lied, leaving you with the idea that it's stuck within you and now it's you that has to walk around with that lie in you? So therefore, you are now walking around with insecurity. And insecurity gets stuck inside of you. It sits in your stomach. And so therefore, you lose your light. You lose the buzz. You lose your mojo, basically. So who gets the benefit of the doubt? By giving the person the benefit of the doubt, does that mean you are actually lying to your true self? Or do you look at that journey and think, I have no need to take this relationship any further? You are not the being for me. You are a being that I cannot trust, and I cannot allow that in my kingdom. I cannot allow your lies and mistrust and misguidance into my kingdom of heaven, into my kingdom of God. In that statement there, your body is your kingdom. And so therefore, you may be a person that trusts most people. But over the time, see, all of these lies and all of these feelings and all of these experiences we carry within our soul. So all it takes sometimes is just one more lie, and you can't take it, and you explode, and you feel let down. So this is depression, because you're not being the person that you feel that you want to be. So depression is about discovering who you are not. When you meet somebody and their energy isn't that good, but again you give them the benefit of the doubt, you allow them to enter into your kingdom. And you may be a being that's done a lot of healing on yourself. But what you got to remember is, this person that's coming into your life could mess it up. They could rearrange it all. They could send you crazy. They could give you these feelings again of doubt. And so therefore, you're like a detective trying to understand where this feeling has come from. In my dark night of the soul, I had that feeling. And I didn't want that feeling. I never really had that feeling before. But over the time, it started to mount up. And the feeling become heavier. And so therefore, I could feel the weight of this lie that was embedded in my body. I tried everything to try and get rid of it. I used my mind to come up with scenarios, situations, phrases, paragraphs, string of words that might just let my body say, yeah, that's it, you've got it. And I could feel the release of that energy, but it didn't happen. In the dark night of the soul, that heaviness becomes quite apparent, and it is so heavy, and that is what stops you from getting out of bed in the morning. Something in me was a lie. So I kind of knew I was depressed, but what I was depressed with was me trying to understand the feelings I was feeling. So therefore, that's why I started to understand the power and the gift of emotions. I needed to understand my emotions because I knew I had intuition, which means my inner teacher, but my emotions have overridden my intuition, which means my emotions were in control, my mind was also in control, And so therefore, my intuition couldn't break through. And that's what I call the ego. That's what I call the human ego. Because now you've lost yourself, you've lost your mojo, you've lost your light, because you're trying to work out, why do I feel like this? So when we look at it, depression is actually an experience, and it is a disastrous experience because you're not feeling as good as you used to feel. In time, when this dark night came to me and was trying to give me a message, of course I didn't understand it, because I'm trying to understand it with my emotions, and I'm trying to understand it with my mind. But little did I know, this was a great message. But as a human being, I couldn't quite understand it. I couldn't believe that this was happening to me. I couldn't believe that my levels of consciousness were changing. I couldn't believe how my mind was trying to fight my new levels of consciousness, because this feeling had a voice, and this voice had a message. And so therefore, when I was trying to discover what was the message, it made my life feel like it was a lie. And as I went through healing my emotions, healing my ego, and I started to clean up, I started to reduce anger levels, I started to reduce the clutter that was in my mind, just so that I could listen to the message that was being given to me. Imagine this, that you're listening to a radio in your car, and it's nicely in tune. Then all of a sudden, you're getting interruption from another station, and two stations starts to crisscross over, and so therefore you're basically losing the signal from the station that you was listening to. And then all of a sudden, this other station becomes louder than the one that you was listening to. And there's an interest there. It's not really your station, but you start to listen to it. And then when you lose sight of it, it all starts to get scrambled up again. The two music stations start merging again with each other, and so therefore it becomes a noise within your mind, and your mind starts to go a little bit crazy. So therefore you start hating the radio, don't you? You can't get the signal. Maybe there's something wrong with the aerial. We all like driving the car, and we all love listening to music. I think it's the best place to listen to your music is in the car. Well, let's say your body is the car, and inside of you is the music. It's nice to be clear. It's nice to have a clear tune. And this is what I call your true self. It's like music. There is a tune in there that is playing. There is something in there that feels really good. But let's go back to the lie, because the lie is the channel change. And so therefore, once it channel changes, you don't like driving the car. Something there is wrong. You got a journey for 2 hours, 3 hours long, and you can't listen to the music you want to. When I discovered the ultimate lie, that was a shock, and it was a big one. And I couldn't cope at first, because this lie was something that we've always believed in. Every being on the planet believes this lie, and it isn't about Father Christmas. This lie was, you're not a human being. So therefore that leaves you with this space that thinks, okay, well I must be a spiritual being. But then the lie still existed. It still didn't feel right. So I thought to myself, right, I've got human being, I've got spiritual being. I worked with the human life, I've worked with the spiritual life. Something still feels wrong. I can't seem to separate myself. So there again was the two radio stations merging in as one. None of it basically made sense. But my dark night of the soul kept on. It wasn't going to let go. And so therefore my mind was consumed with trying to understand this feeling. And I worked with the fact that human being was actually the wrong word. That was hard, because everything has been based upon being a human being. Everything, every spirituality, every religion, every faith and belief and teachings, education, all based on being a human being. But no one on the planet has ever found that to be the truth or not. So I delved in, I tried to find out whether or not are we human beings? And of course, when you look at it, it's just an identity, and that identity is obviously been made up by a human being. So therefore, in our evolution, we are human beings. But how about this? It's time for the new evolutionary way to identify who we are as a species. So I bring to the planet what I think and what I believe is to be the greatest breakthrough I could ever envision. I am a Bema being. And the reason why I say that is because we all search for the meaning and purpose to life. Everybody. Science is still on it. They're still trying to figure out what is the meaning of life. But even if they do figure out the meaning of life, where does that benefit me? How does that help me in my daily life? So when I found the Bema being, which was my dark night of the soul messenger, my messenger said to me, be me. That was the essence. That was like the creator source was coming to me and giving me the answer to everything. And it was in 3 letters, 2 words, B-M-E, be me. So when I look at the meaning and purpose to life, I can say that the meaning and purpose to life is to be me. That is a bingo moment, really, because once you understand that, then your life starts to change. And you start to see things not in a human way, not in a spiritual way, but in a Bema way, which means in your way. And as soon as that message came into me, that feeling within me that I'd been holding that was a lie disappeared. And that is how I knew that the truth of this new identity of who I was a Bema. My body, my intuition, my soul responded with a, yes, you've got that correct. So the moral of this story is, depression means you're low in spirit, which means you are feeling a lie within you. That lie may be that you're not being happy, that you're not living your truth, that you feel that you're in a job that is no good to you, that you feel that you're in a relationship that is no good for you. Feel the difference. Feel that heaviness. Because what you're here to do is to lighten up. And that's what I believe enlightenment means. Lighten up. To reduce the heavy load of the feeling that you're actually feeling. Now for me, in my dark night of the soul, my messenger came in and it took me 15 years to understand this message and be able to speak about it fluently. Communicate between my mind and my energy and my body to find the harmony and to reduce this feeling within me that was making me feel heavy. So therefore, once I got to that point of understanding that I was a Bema being and that everything that I was doing in my life was supposed to be fantastic. But of course, these feelings inside of me, I didn't see the world. I didn't understand anything. I just felt like I was miserable all the time. And trying to understand what this feeling miserable was, that got me depressed. So always check in. Always try to discover what is the lie within you. Work with that, and that's where your healing will begin. Listen to all the lies that you've listened to from other beings. Listen to all the experiences that you have been through that have let you down, or somebody has let you down. Maybe your own self has let you down. But remember this, the meaning and purpose to life is to be you. And that, a letter B and a letter U, is only 2 letters. So I can reduce that even more. And if you really want to reduce that again, I can reduce the meaning of life to 1 letter, and that is the letter B. To me, that is the ultimate. Life is about being, and life is about being you. But of course, we've been taught to be somebody else, and everyone wants to be somebody else because nobody is actually satisfied with who they are. So the moral of this story for me is I discovered that Bemaism was my true religion, and so therefore I worked with that, I understood that, I grew in consciousness with that, and so therefore I had to break away from the normal human conditioning, which, may I add, was very difficult and very hard to understand because for 40 odd years I've been a human being, and then all of a sudden in the changeover I'm now a Bema being, And so therefore, my vision started to change, my hearing had to change, my thoughts had to change, my feelings had to change, and of course, my actions had to change. And so therefore, that's why I completely changed from the being that I used to be, who was a human being. Then I changed into a being that was a Bema being. So therefore, there's the form of transformation. So depression is actually showing you, teaching you, and guiding you who you are not. That is why it's a backward journey, because you're discovering who you are not. It's like a process of elimination. And so therefore, when you've got nothing else to eliminate, what does it leave you with? It just leaves you with you. And once you understand that as being the truth, then you can start to begin. There is your second chance in life. That's where you call that space where you feel you are empty and that there is no future. There is nothing there. What am I supposed to do? Where am I going? There is your new beginning. So in the Bema process, you have a beginning, a middle, and an ending, which is a B, M, and an E. So in the beginning, you was quite natural. That was your human side. In the middle, you become aware. Things don't feel right. And in the end, what do we have to do? We have to let go. Say a relationship. In the beginning, you're natural. Everything is great. Everything is beautiful. In the middle, in comes the lie. Now you're starting to become aware. Your emotions are starting to cloud your thoughts. You start to lose the light of who you are. The arguments start. So in the end, you have to let go. It's ending that is the hardest bit. How many of you in a relationship never wanted to end something? How many of you are in a bad job that you don't want to end it? Reason being is because you don't know where your next relationship's coming from. You don't know where your next job is coming from. Look at it from my point of view. In the beginning, I was human. In the middle, something didn't feel right. And in the end, I had to let go of being a human. Where was I going to go? Nobody was going to understand me, especially trying to tell them, you're not a human being. That makes me look like a complete nutter. So there was my problem. But once I understood it and I let go of all the human ways, where did it leave me in the cycle of life? Right back at the beginning again. So remember, you have a beginning and a middle and an ending to everything in your life. There's the Bema, B-M-E, beginnings, middles and endings. And beginnings manifest endings. What do endings manifest? New beginnings. Every relationship you let go of, you got a new one. And so therefore, the process started again. You felt great, and then you didn't feel great, and then you had to end something. There's nothing wrong with that. It's all right to do that. You just have to trust it's the best thing to do. Because when you end something, the adventure begins again. So there you have it. In the depression, what you're trying to do is that you're trying to end something. And the best way to understand that is, remember this, there is a lie within you that doesn't feel right. Try to discover what that lie is, and yes, sometimes it does feel like an onion, and every time you peel back a layer of onion, you think, my God, the feeling is still there, the lie is still there. It could be everything. And when I looked at Bemism, and I understood the power and the gift that was given to me from my dark night of the soul that said human is wrong, I had to undo literally everything. They even got to the point right down to my parents. They wasn't really my parents. Not in the way that I was used to, because I would still be looking at them as controlling me. So therefore, in their human ways, they did everything that they thought was possible to teach me to be a human being. Whereas inside of us, we all know, even at the age of 14 years old, something isn't right. Something is wrong. And what is wrong is that you're not actually a human being. You're a personal, unique gift from the Creator. That's who you really are. And God would say to you, son, be me. And so therefore, I believe that's the story, or the greatest story that's ever been told, about Jesus. Jesus created a new way. Buddha also created a new way, a new idea of who we were as beings and where we were going when we left here. Well, my name is Trevor Owsley. I've been given this message to share to you that there is another way, and it's called Bemism. And it understands everything about being a human being. It gets you to understand how to walk away from being a human being and helps you to move forward into your new self, which is a Bema being. So here we have to exchange information because I'm trying to explain to you and give you a new identity to who you are. So depression discovers who you are not. That means you are not a human being. So if you get to that point and you truly understand it, understanding my message, understanding my level of thinking and consciousness as a Bema being, then your life can begin. And so therefore you end being a human being so that you can become a Bema being. And in a Bema being way, do you know what? There is no middles and endings because it's like a rebirth. It's like you've just landed on the planet. You know you're not a human being anymore. And so therefore you look at life in a completely different way. And so therefore the adventure begins, which means I'm in control of my thoughts. I'm in control of my feelings. My actions are pure. I know what I want to do and I know how I want to do it. And I've got the gift of the Creator within me and the dark night of the soul backing me up to be able to help humanity evolve into a new identity of who we are. And that new identity is so easy. It's in 3 letters, 2 words. So for those of you that are experiencing the dark night of the soul, and the reason why you have discovered my channel is because your soul has led you to me because Bemism is your way forward. The Bema philosophy is your new instructions to life. So understanding that you have a body and a mind and an energy, there's your Trinity. There's your Bema. Once you understand the mind, the body starts to understand and starts to heal itself. Understanding your emotions heals the body, heals the mind. Once you've understood and processed and eliminated your emotions, it leaves you with energy. And that would be the energy that I would call your pureness. That would be the closest energy I would call God. Because in this feeling, you actually do feel like you're God and that you are connected to divinity. Why do I say that? Because it's the opposite end to how it felt when I was a human being. So let's just go over a few pointers. In your dark night of the soul, look at your body, understand the body, feel the body, listen to the body. Look at the illnesses in your body because they are represented by your thoughts and your experiences. They've all been collected within you. Look at your mind. See what's going on within the mind. Separate that. Put that in its own boxes. So write purely about the mind and put it in a way like a third person. My mind thinks about this. My mind does this. My mind does that. So therefore you want to use your mind in a way that says, okay, your mind is doing this because, and your mind is saying that because. And that's where you start to have a dialect. So you're having a dialect with your higher self. You're having a dialect with your intuition and your intelligence. Intelligence is coming from your mind and your intuition is coming in from your soul. Get them two correct, then you'll start to heal yourself. But discover the lie that is within you. And the more that you get to listen to my YouTubes, and the more that you say to me, my God, he knows who I am, this is making sense, then I guarantee you, Bemism, and the power and the gift of 3 letters and 2 words, and the new philosophy of Bema is for you. Because as I said, your soul has led you to me so that you can gain this new information. There is no one else on the planet. So I'm honoured that I have these subscribers or humans, or let's say beamy beings that are coming towards me. And the reason why you've come towards me is because your soul is saying, we are done with being human. It serves me no purpose. It doesn't work for me. It's made me ill. It's made me depressed. I know something inside of me can't put up with it anymore, so I need to get rid of the whole fucking lot. And so therefore, in my dark night of the soul, I've done a lot of work for you. I didn't think that I would be teaching this. I didn't think I would be giving this out to people. And I didn't think there were going to be beings that were thinking exactly the same as I was. And I tried. I'd been on many TV shows pumping out this information, and I just wasn't getting any takers on it. But all of a sudden, what's happened is, when the universe and your dark night of the soul knows that you're bang on the money, the doors open. And so therefore, that's what happened. My doors all of a sudden opened, and all of a sudden, my subscribers started flooding in. And that's when we say that things are working for you. It's like the pure relationship, isn't it? When it's working, it's kind of really working, and it just flows. Well, that was the same for me. When I discover the lie that I'd been carrying around in my life, the doors just flew open. My spirit just flew open. My soul rejoiced in such a way that I just felt like I was on cloud nine. It was a eureka moment that after all these years of trying, I discovered the power and the gift, the meaning and the purpose of life, and that was understanding that the meaning and purpose and the gift was me being me. So thank you for listening. There are going to be so much more YouTubes. I'm going to teach everything that I know, and I'm going to teach you that you're not a human being anymore, and that human being is the very word that's been trying to destroy you. And when you look at it, you look at the governments, they are controlling you because you are a human being. And this is why the governments fear the awakened being, because they are awakening, but the government also knows that you don't know what you're awakening into. So the awakening on a grander scheme is to understand that, yes, this planet is run by darkness. Awakening into your true self, which is the light. You are the light brigade that is here to distinguish the darkness, but you have to distinguish that darkness within yourself first. And that's the healing, see? Once you can heal that within you and you become pure potential, you can seal the lies, you can seal the bullshit, but this time you're not going to suck it in. You're not going to allow it to sit into your body, because your beamy being is keeping all of that shit on the outside. And so therefore, even if a relationship comes into your life that you feel is going to damage you, or put you off track, do you know what? You can so gently say to that person, fuck off. You really are not on my level, and I really can't waste my time and energy listening to your bullshit. Does that make sense of where you are? I'm sure it does. Until the next YouTube, my name is Trevor Isley. Please subscribe. I want this to grow. I want humanity to have a new identity, because, quite frankly, the old one, being called a human, is fucking boring. See you soon.